All right, guys, I'm back with another video, a little bit different today. In case it's the first time you've been here, my name's Jimmy, and this is my corner. And basically, today I'm going to just give a quick, or not necessarily quick, this may take a little bit of time to go through, but I'm going to give a review of my recent weekend with Metallica. To start it off, first of all, the family and I and my buddy Chris and his wife, we took the road trip down to Charlotte, North Carolina to see Metallica on the M72 tour on Saturday night, which was May 31st. And I'm going to be looking down because I've got a bunch of notes that I took, and I kind of want to highlight a few things. But, it's six of us crammed into an SUV. We're riding down. We leave Saturday morning around, I guess it was close to 11:30 a.m. And, with kids and us, and me for the most part, got to stop and go to the bathroom on the way down. It's three and a half hour drive down, and we'll get a couple stops on the way in. We finally arrived down in Charlotte at the stadium right at about 3:40, 3:45. Parked the car, and fortunately Chris's wife had secured us some tickets for parking, and honestly it was close to stadium, perfect parking spot. I mean, it was great. And immediately we get out, we grab what we're going to take with us, and the race was on, so to speak. I wanted to go see that Metallica pop-up store. It was a must-see for me. I'd never been in one before. I've only seen the stuff that you see on the internet, YouTube, TikTok, things like that. And I will say this, it did not disappoint. So I basically rushed the entire family over there. We got in line, and the line was pretty big when we got there. I mean, I think we walked over. It was probably, I don't know, maybe just over a half a mile, not much more than that. It wasn't that big of a walk. We got in line. It was about 5 till 4. We got in the pop-up store roughly at 5 o'clock. And I will say this is basically Candyland for Metallica fans. You walk in and you're overwhelmed by all the stuff that's there. It's just Metallica, and it is just amazing. I mean, the first thing I saw on my left was the Metallica pinball machine, which we joked, I knew it was going to be there. We joked that I was going to drop the 10 grand, buy that, and strap it to the back of the SUV on the way home. But all joking aside, if I was a lottery person, and you'll know it because there'll be signs, as they say. But we're looking around the store. I tell the kids to pick out a couple of shirts, or a shirt a piece, I should say, not a couple shirts. My wife found a shirt she wanted, so we grabbed her a shirt. I didn't find any that I wanted because at these pop-up stores, they have venue and date-specific items that are available. Shirts, posters, vinyl, things like that are just available the day of the show or the day before the show. This pop-up opened up on Friday and is open on Saturday. And crazily, I didn't know they did this, but on Friday they had a tour poster, immediately sold out. But it was completely different than the Saturday tour poster for the Charlotte show. And unfortunately, when we got there, it was already sold out. And it's a shame because I really, really wanted Saturday's poster. I think it was the superior one. And if I can find a picture of it, I'll throw it up on the video somewhere if I can find one. But nonetheless, as we're walking around and we're going to check out, we get to you basically start in this pop-up store. You walk in, to the right immediately is the checkouts, but to the left you kind of walk around and do a loop, and you come back down. Walls full of shirts, jackets, coats, all kind. They had the swag there. You make your way around to the far wall of the store, and they have like just random accessories, license plate covers, things like that, and cups. I did score a Yeti cup, which honestly is just fantastic. I think it's like a 20 or 22 ounce cup. I love these things. This has got the little unscrew spout that makes it easy to drink out of, and of course it's double, so you can take this end off too and have the bigger version to pour ice in and whatever. But I picked this up. This was immediately what I was going to buy. So we had our 4 things. We were going to get in line. 3 shirts. This thing, I knew it was going to be expensive. Well, as I'm in line, I'm looking, I kind of asked the guy, hey man, you guys see more posters back there? And he's like, he laughed. He said, no, those were gone by around lunchtime. I was like, I kind of figured. And then I look behind him and I see a stack of vinyl. It's like 6 or 7 M72 or 72 season records. And I said, hey, is that the Charlotte specific vinyls? And he said, yeah. I said, dude, I'll take one. And lo and behold, there it is. 72 seasons. I know I did an opening review of this album back, years ago, 2 years ago, year and a half ago. And I already have this, but this is vinyl was specific to the Charlotte show. And on the back of this, I don't know if I can get this to come in clear. it tells you it's Charlotte specific, and it's a blue and white coloring. I haven't opened it. I don't know if I am going to open it. I might. It just depends. I've got another limited edition copy that I do have open. It's like the smoke gray, whatever the Metallica website had when it first got released. And I'm part of the vinyl club at the time, so I ordered it from them. But I don't know. I may open this and give my daughter the other one because she's into vinyl as well. But that being said, we bag up all our goodies, get a couple pictures of the store, and we start our way back to the stadium. On the way to the stadium, I should say, I let my daughter and my wife go together to go ahead and check in, and me and my son walk back to the car to put our goodies in the hatch. And my wife calls me as me and my son are walking back up, and she's like, "Hey, I'm in line here at the merch table, and I'm at the front. Do you want a shirt?" I was like, "If they've got date-specific shirts, yes, give me one of those." And that was right when we were going through security. So I walked in and I called her back. I was like, "Hey, where are you at? Are you still in line?" She's like, "Yeah, we were next in line." And so they waved their hand. They're shaking, waving their hands at me and just telling me where they're at as I'm walking up to this merch table. And I get there, and they have an awesome shirt, which is the poster, by the way, that I wanted. I should have brought that thing downstairs and just got it washed. I'll show it later, I'm sure. It'll be worn or something. Heck, I wear a Metallica shirt now, but I got to show it because it's just a great, great shirt. And my daughter, she's a huge Pantera fan, so she was there to get a Pantera shirt because they didn't have any at the pop-up store. And we promised her a new Pantera shirt. She found the one she liked. Well, my wife found another shirt she wanted, and my son found a shirt he wanted. And of course, I realized at that point that after this weekend, I'll probably never recover financially from the Metallica show. All joking aside, the experience that we had as a family, it's totally worth it, and it was a blast for that part. Except for the money was kind of crappy, but nonetheless, we ventured on up to our seats at that point, grabbed a couple of hot dogs and some drinks, and went up, sat down, and waited for the show. And then I don't know, we sat there for probably 15 or 20 minutes, and we were just hanging out, and exactly 6 o'clock, Suicidal Tendencies popped up on stage, and I'll be honest with you, killer show. They only played like 6 or 7 tunes. I was a fan of them before, like as you guys probably know, I'm an older guy. I'm in my 50s now, but when I was a kid as a skateboarder, Suicidal Tendencies was part of that culture. We had, Suicidal, we had the Misfits. I mean, there was just, Black Flag, Bad Brains. We had so many bands, alt-punk bands that we looked up to as young skaters, and that was one of them. And I was so glad to finally get to see them. I'd never seen them before, but they come out and rocked. They played a couple songs off of the album I like the best, which is How Will I Laugh Tomorrow If I Can't Smile Today. Love that album. It's a staple. It's still in the back of my mind. And as they only sang 2 songs off that album, and the words came back. That's how much that album and that band meant to me, that the words were still in my mind to remember how to sing along to these songs. But I will say that they did put on a good show. Mike Muir's got this funky dance that he does a lot, and it's just funny to watch him do it. And they've got Robert Trujillo's son Ty's in the band. That's kind of cool watching that happen. And then he had a girl come sing one of the songs with them, and I don't remember the name of the song, but apparently it's one of the newer ones. And it sounded pretty darn good, I'll be honest with you. I think my son was getting into it. He'd only heard a couple songs before he got there. I'd tried to prep the kids with a couple of playlists. And anyway, I could tell they were kind of okay with it. My wife was, it was good. It wasn't great for her because, she wasn't a huge fan. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. And I know that I don't even know if Chris and his wife made it inside by the time that party started, but he didn't care to see him. He wasn't a fan back in the day. But anyway, they clear off the stage, and they of course remove the drum sets and all the goodies, and then you start seeing them set up for Pantera, and they set up 2 drum sets for Charlie, which was pretty cool. And I'll be honest with you guys, Pantera, they came out and absolutely rocked nonstop for just over an hour, maybe an hour and 10 minutes. And I understand it's not the Pantera we all grew up and love, as my buddy Chris calls them, the Pantera tribute band. It doesn't matter. The soul was there. The inspiration was there. I could feel the music just going through my soul. I loved it. I mean, I was a huge fan of Pantera back in the day, and this set list is absolutely the greatest hits in my mind. They basically played nothing past Far Beyond Driven, and I'll be honest with you, from Far Beyond Driven back to Cowboys, that's my era, and I love everything about those 3 albums. Cowboys from Hell, Vulgar Display of Power, and Far Beyond Driven. Hands down, my 3 favorite albums in their discography of whatever it is, 5 or 6 or 5 albums they've released. And as we know, the Pantera day, not the Terry Blaze days, or Terry Blaze, whatever his name was. But that set list was awesome, and it got the crowd pumped. There were headbanging going on, some moshing going on. It was fun. It was great to see it. Now, we were in section 204, which is a tier that is basically the second tier up from the bottom. Pretty good view. I mean, actually really good view overall. But so I didn't get to get into the action of kind of bouncing around. But, you know, we hopped around and bounced around throughout the night in our aisle. But they finished up their set. It gets to be about, I guess it was probably maybe 10 after 8 or 15 after 8 they got finished. And they started cleaning off the stage and getting everything. And the next thing you know, the stage is completely clear. And during this time, Metallica has these 6'8" big old pillars up with these gigantic screens, monitors playing, some music throughout the day and some screenshots and just random stuff throughout just to entertain the folks. And I swear to you, like, I think it was about 8:40, somebody in either 202 or 203 tried to get the wave to go through this stadium. And after about 3 or 4 attempts, it caught on. And that thing rocked. This is amazing to see a Metallica concert and everybody doing the wave going around. I think it made about 6 trips with the tier 1, or I should say level 1, level 2, and level 3 going all the way around with it. And it was awesome. The excitement was there. And that was, like I said, about 8:40. And then it after about the 5th or 6th turn, it kind of died down. You know, people were laughing, having a good time. And then at 8:50, the lights go down and you hear AC/DC cranking. It's a long way to top if you want to rock and roll. And that's when it started getting electric. Fans everywhere were singing along. It was as loud as you could imagine. And then at the end of that song, of course, they do the traditional, the Ecstasy of Gold, and show the video from the Good, the Bad, the Ugly. And you can feel it. I mean, it's getting to be crazy ready for a show. And at this time, they're playing the Good, the Bad, the Ugly, the theme song here, and there's still no drums on the circle, if you will, the track. And ever so slightly on the left side of the stage, you see something raise up, and they slide out that whole the whole drum set over through like a little hole in this stage. And then Lars Ulrich hops up, and then they break into Creeping Death immediately. And it was absolutely awesome. And my son's sitting beside me, my daughter's sitting beside him, my wife's sitting beside her. They're all singing along, screaming along. It's a party time to start. And it's loud. It's very, very loud. And the screens are, kind of matching the music they've got. The coloration is fantastic. And as soon as they finish cranking out Creeping Death, they go right into Ride the Lightning. Or no, From Whom the Bell Tolls. They go into From Whom the Bell Tolls second. And it is electric. And they've got like a giant bell tolling up on the video screens. And what I found out later that night, it's my son's favorite song by Metallica. He's singing along, screaming along. My daughter's singing along, screaming along. And of course, so are about 80,000 other people there screaming along. And it was phenomenal. And then with the adrenaline flowing, they go right into Ride the Lightning right there. So 3 songs back to back, straight from Ride the Lightning album. And that absolutely was an amazing performance of Ride the Lightning. And I'll be honest with you, I don't think I've ever seen them perform it live I think I've seen them about a dozen times in my life. I don't think I've ever seen them play it live. I can't remember, and I didn't go through the set list FM to see if I could find it, but that was awesome. And then they took a little bit of a break, and then they go into The Memory Remains, and that song, love it or hate it, it's a sing-along. Everybody sings along with it. It's scream along, every how you want to look at it. I know that on this tour they've been alternating King Nothing and The Memory Remains, and I was hoping we were going to get King Nothing because I prefer that tune. But it's okay. I mean, the song was fine, and no big deal. As soon as they finish playing that, they take another little bit of a break. I think they're switching guitars out, and the monitors turn yellow, or the screens turn yellow and black. I immediately know they're getting ready to go into something off 72 Season. They had been doing Lux Eterna normally, and then the next song for us, was Screaming Suicide, but for other shows, it's been If Darkness Had a Sun. So with that, my daughter's a huge fan of Darkness Has a Sun, but they didn't do it that night. They did Screaming Suicide. Very good performance. I was shocked that how people were singing along to those 2 songs as well, because I know that the old school is there singing along, but I wasn't expecting the new school to be singing along. They took a little break after Screaming Suicide. Kirk and Robert did a little medley, did a song called The Devil's Lettuce, which I wasn't super familiar with, but it sounded good. And I think they mixed in a little bit of Broken, Beaten, Scarred, I believe, in that. I can't remember. It sounded like it to me. I could be wrong. If you were at the Charlotte show and you're sure about it, drop a note in the comments. Let me know if that's what it was. But I think it was Broken, Beaten, Scarred, which is one of my favorite tunes off of the Death Magnetic album. James returns to stage, and he's got a chair. They got a chair out in front of his microphone, and they go into The Day That Never Comes. And you want to talk about an awesome performance. You know how it starts off slow, and he's basically finger picking or slow picking this intro and throughout the medley part. But when it kicks in, he stands up, of course, kicks the chair out of the way and starts rocking. Great performance of that song. And then as they slow down at the end of that, I swear to you, you can see the screens kind of turn into that orange, black, and red kind of mixture. Had a feeling it was going to be something from Load or Reload. And as soon as James said the words, "Give me," he didn't get a chance to get the rest of it out. Everybody screamed, "Give me fuel, give me fire, give me that which I desire." They crank in the fuel. It was amazing. It was electric. It was just a fantastic rendition. I mean, holy smokes. I don't know if he could out-sing the crowd on that. That's how loud the crowd was for that song. But, man, when you got 80,000 screaming at you, you know it's going to be loud. And then they went on to arguably my favorite song by the band. And it's one I don't think I'd ever seen live before. Once again, I've seen a dozen shows, and I don't think they've ever played Orion. And I almost got emotional on this one because it's my favorite song. It's the tribute for Cliff. And I was there for one of those shows with Cliff when I was younger. And, it's a shame that I didn't get to see him mature as an artist because he was already mature. And I can't, at the time of, Kill 'Em and Ride and Master, I can only imagine what could have been. So that song was certainly special. And they played the entirety of this song. It wasn't a shortcut. They played the whole thing. And crazily, as this song ended, it started sprinkling a little bit, like a little light rain started coming down. And you could see, like, Hetfield's on the screen, and you see him looking up when it starts raining. And it's kind of surreal, if you will. They go into Nothing Else Matters. And, of course, it's a sing-along as well. Everybody loves that tune. You got 80,000 people singing that one. And during that, it was pretty emotional there, too, because you could tell that there was something more going on with Hetfield. And at the very end of Nothing Else Matters, it stopped raining completely. It's just almost like Cliff looked down on him and kind of gave him the smile. I don't know. It was kind of surreal. I was going to be honest with you. It was super, super, super awesome. Now, I did record the Orion performance, and I uploaded it on my channel. It's there if you want to take a look at it. Sadly, the video quality may not be great. Like I said, I'm in section 204. We're a couple rows up there, and audio's not perfect. It's a live audio on my iPhone, but I love it. It's a memory for me, and that's more so why I recorded that performance, just so I can go back and look on it later in life. However, after they finished Nothing Else Matters, I'm telling you right now, sad but true, it never disappoints. It's heavy, and it absolutely is a scream-along, sing-along. I'm pretty sure the fans were louder than Hetfield's vocals on that one. It was amazing, and they absolutely tromped that song to death. It is just a great, great riffage fest, and people banging heads, getting into it. And it's just, it's one of those songs that just gets you pumped back up for the second half of the show, if you will. And, of course, as soon as they finished that one, he talks a little bit, and he goes into his spiel about seek and destroy, and he says, "I'm going to say one word," or something like that. And he goes, "Seek," and then everybody goes, "and destroy," and he does it a couple times, and then they break into it. And during the song, they drop these giant beach balls, these M72 black and yellow themed beach balls for the general admission audience to kick around all around. And they got up in the stadium a little bit, up into tier 2 for some folks. Didn't make it to Ari, and I'd love to be able to punch one back down there, but just never made it to us. And it was just, killer tune. Kids loving it. It's just rocking. It absolutely, it's one of those songs that just never disappoints. Now, when this song started closing out, it once again got a little quiet, and you could see up on the screens they turned red. I had a feeling it was going to be something from the Master era or Kill 'Em All. Wasn't for sure. Then we saw Tombstones, and we knew we're going to get a Master of Puppets. And sure enough, it was Master of Puppets. And they never disappointed on that song. It absolutely was, I mean, I dare say note for note perfection. It was just an absolute, just a riff fest. They killed it, plain and simple. And I'm telling you, when they finish Master of Puppets, at that point in time, my voice is about done. I know my wife is probably done. My kids are probably done. And I will say, I didn't think it could get any louder, but they go into the finale and it's Enter Sandman. Now that's not one of my favorite songs by the band, but I understand the importance of it. And I know how great that song makes people feel. I swear to you, this was so loud with the audience singing that I can see why the Blacksburg show caused an earthquake to register on the Richter scale. Because I can't believe it didn't happen in Charlotte, because my watch, this Apple Watch here, shows decibels, and it got up to like 109 during, as loud as it was the entire show. My son and I were kind of peeking at it throughout the night, and it was about as loud as I'd heard it all night. And I think 109 is where it was at, maybe 111. But all I can say is it was amazing. It was amazing. End of show. On our way out, we got turned around trying to get to the car. Chris and his wife, they make it back a little bit faster than we do. And we'd finally get back to the car. Parking was atrocious. Trying to get 80,000 people out of Charlotte at the same time is insane. The drive was crazy. We saw two of the drunkest people. These people, two guys, were so drunk that when they were first walking up, I thought they may have been maybe mentally handicapped. They were just that way. It looked weird. And then we just realized these guys were just absolutely hammered drunk. And they were very big men. And I swear, if they'd have fallen down and hit the sidewalk they were walking on, it might have killed one of them. I mean, it was crazy. And like their wives or their women that were with them, they weren't that big. So if they'd have fallen down, they really probably could have never got them back up. Somehow they made it to their car, and I don't think the guys got in the drive. I couldn't tell because it was just out of my viewing angle. But holy smokes. Don't get me wrong. I remember days of drinking and going to concerts, but holy crap, I don't think I've ever got that bad, ever. Oh, my Lord. Anyway, so overall, man, this show experience was absolutely incredible. I mean, I'm going to say this right now. The best part of this show for me was experiencing it with my kids. They already knew how big of a fan of Metallica I was, because I've been making them listen to it secretly throughout their entire lives as they were growing up while it plays on the radio in the car. Never really cranking it for them, but, you know, it's always kind of been in the background. And to see them sing along and scream along these songs just filled my heart with joy. It was insane. And I will say this, the Metallica concert experience has changed over the years. As a youngster, when I used to go to Metallica, it was a different type feeling. You know, James would be screaming out vulgarities, screaming out curse words the whole time. You know, we're getting into, nobody cared. We were there throwing out some aggression, pounding out aggressions, turning into obsession, can't stop the battery. You know, it's that kind of vibe. And as I've gotten older, and as Metallica's gotten older, and these shows have become like family events, I dare say. I don't think he said a cuss word tonight during his brief talking stints that he did. The curse words in the songs are still there, but he didn't openly go out like he did, 10, 15 years ago and, basically F this and F that. Didn't add the words to like, the seek and destroy, creep and death. I mean, all the songs that he normally would add a obscenity to, they weren't there. You guys know the one I think about is whenever he does one for years, cut this shit off from me is what he would sing live. And he didn't do it that night, it was kind of weird. But for the most part, I guess they've matured, and I appreciate it because I don't feel like my kids needed to be sheltered from this. I want them to experience it for what it was. And it's arguably the greatest rock show there is. That's arguable. Yes. And I've seen some great ones in my life. I saw Pink Floyd live. I've seen Kiss countless times. I know those are completely different acts. Metallica may be the biggest band I've ever seen live, and watched them mature from an opening act for Ozzy Osbourne, my first show, all the way through the years becoming the juggernaut they become. And it's amazing. I can say, growing up a fan, I remember seeing Metallica the first time, not going to see Metallica, I was going to see Ozzy. But I left that show a Metallica fan, and getting a Metallica shirt and wearing it to school in my 8th grade year, and being one of maybe 4 or 5 people 8th and ninth grade that actually maybe knew who Metallica was, to by the time I graduated high school, Justice for All had been released, and the Metallica, the snowball had started rolling. There were more and more fans were there. They were absolutely appearing, growing massively, and I'm part of that. And I'll say I was jealous for a while because I felt like I might have been a gatekeeper of that band because it was mine. Metallica was mine, but I got to watch them go from opening for Ozzy Osbourne to doing what they do now, which, like I said, might be the greatest show on earth right now. It's amazing. I mean, to say this, yes, Metallica's had some sidesteps throughout the years in their albums. A change in direction with the Black Album, I accepted it. A change in direction with Load and Reload, I accepted it and actually loved those albums. A change in sound with Saint Anger, love the songs, don't love the sound. Then we go into, the years of, losing Jason we lost Jason before Saint Anger, and then they get Rob in. Then we go in and record Saint Anger, which was meh. We get Death Magnetic, however, and it's a great album. I don't care who you are. That's a great album. That's a great return to form. We get Hardwired to Self-Destruct, another great album. And then we get this 72 Seasons. And I think it's a great album. I know it's got critics on both sides. Some people absolutely hate it and some people absolutely love it. I'm not saying I absolutely love it, but I do think it's a fantastic listen. I'm going to say this. I love the theme that Metallica went on 72 Seasons, about being 18 years old and that's your 72nd season. Well, old Jimbo here, I just finished my 208th season, and I'm so glad I've been able to see Metallica the times I've seen them, and I'm super glad I'm able to see Metallica with my kids. My kids are now fans, and I'm betting they're going to be fans for life. They're going to feel like Metallica, hopefully the way I feel about like Led Zeppelin. It's a shame I never got to see them, but they got to see Metallica, and as they get older, I hope they will continue to appreciate their music. I mean, fingers crossed to see this again at some point in time. Metallica's getting old. These songs aren't slow. This is actually a task for these guys to play these tunes, and I really would love to see them again in peak performance mode because, I don't want them to go out to play just for the money. I want them to go out and play and perform these songs the way they can do it. And I know as they get older, it's going to get tougher and tougher. Maybe we'll get another round next year or the year after. I don't know. I will say this. Final thought. Shout out. Thank you, Metallica, for absolutely giving us one of the most memorable nights of my entire life. The fact that, like I said, my kids, my family got the experiences with me. It was awesome. If you haven't seen Metallica ever, and you're a fan of hard rock, heavy metal, just do yourself a favor and go see it. Take it in, experience it, because it's absolutely worth the price of admission. All right, guys. End of the review. Thanks for stopping by. Feel free to drop a comment. Tell me your story. Anything Metallica. Don't hesitate to drop notes. Thanks for stopping by again.